Hello, everyone. Cheers. Welcome. We made it. It's Thursday, maybe Friday, depending on where you are. Today is release day. By the end of our time together, I hope to ship version 2.0 of Sesh. And so we'll do some testing. I'll catch you guys up on some of the things that I've been doing between last stream and now. So glad to see you here. Andres is here. So I'm going to kind of finish my dinner, and I'm curious what you guys have going on. Does anyone have any feedback for me on Sesh? How are you feeling about it? What's on your mind? Are you just here to hang out? As it's super tiny. Oh my gosh. All right. So we've pretty much accomplished everything. I think there's one regression that I have to deal with. It could be something I deal with this weekend or over the next few days and get shipped. Yeah. You ready to test it, huh? Yeah, I'm ready for people to start testing it. So technically there's a branch out, but I've been pretty good at about hot fixes. So like, I'm sure stuff will come up. You want to add in pane selector. Yeah. So totally fair question. I guess I'd want to better understand how people are using it, because my tmux workflow is very simple, and I just spawn tabs as I need them, and then I close them out very quickly. So the idea of the mental overhead, there's sort of like mental gymnastics that you have to deal with when it comes to pane selection, because certain panes are going to look pretty much the same across different sessions. So you have to make sure you get the right session, and then you get the right pane, right? Or window. Let's just talk about windows and then panes. So there is a good alternative. I'm fine with selling session X. Omar, if you guys don't follow him, he's got a great YouTube channel. He has one that does something like that, where you can select all sorts of things. He's got lots of options here too, but from what I gather, there's like the ability to break down panes and things like that. And so his is a little bit more fine-tuned, but mine is built to be fast, to the point, session creation, session switching. And if you've been here long enough, you know that I like using the command keys. So I like Command B, Command D, Command G are common ones that I use to throw up a pane or a window quickly. And then I just close it. I close things constantly and often, because I really don't, it's just like small overhead for me. Chris Toomey's, yeah. Chris Toomey has a great plugin for like switching between panes that are visible, which is slightly different, but perhaps it could help. Man, it's hot. I got this light on me and I got dinner in front of me, and so it's a little warm. All right. So this is working super well. It's hard to see. Part of me wants to like change the resolution. I can actually do display. What do we think? Maybe a little 900. That feels better. All right, and then this is actually center reset. There we go. So I have added configs to Sesh. So how about that, right? So we want Sesh to be aware of these as well. And so thankfully, I've worked really hard at avoiding breaking changes as often as I can on the Raycast extension. So even if people are sort of out of sync, they could potentially update this, and if they have configs, then this would work. So I did some optimizations to the React code, and yeah, so if we do like was term, boom, there's was term, right? So that's pretty good to see. And so we can do the Sesh CLI, right? And so it's been helpful to be able to integrate that very easily, actually. And so the final step here will be ensuring that we're not introducing some sort of regression. And then some of our time together, I'll be writing up the 1.0 to 2.0 changelog and make sure that it's clear to people that have tried using the sesh config, how they go about changing their code so that it's up to date and accurate. And so I want to experiment a little bit more with the tmuxinator, tmuxifier, those kinds of tools, because I think we can offer some examples. And I also may rework some of the README files so that it's more obvious. So I would really appreciate direct feedback. So if anyone has any, hey, I think this should be more clear, or hey, I want this removed, or I want this added, or you have a feature request, like it's our opportunity today to sort of get excited about 2.0 and help me get it past the finish line. And so that is what we're gonna do. Look at this, people are excited. But we need Steve to be here. Steve, are you here? Steve is excited, but I don't see him. Let's just open this. That's interesting. I may want, the connection seemed to work, but I may need to do a little bit more work here, because I want, when I choose this, it's not supposed to use this as the name. It's supposed to use Raycast. Switch. I wonder if double quotes is going to help here. Probably. Let's make sure we're in dev mode. So now if we say fish config, see how it named it .files config fish, but if I do fish here, it names it based off of what's passed. So that's interesting. Why is that the case? Because when we select it, oh, I'm getting a stack trace error. Invalid icon. All right. Let's look at the TypeScript. Cog. Well, that could be part of it. Invalid prop icon on list item. Icon on list item. List item 1, get icon. List item 2. List item 3. I didn't have any problems earlier with this. Maybe we'll restart it. Yep, and sure enough, it fails. It looks right. Oh, maybe this is, maybe the score's not supposed to be there. Nope. Oh, that was the wrong one. Let's make sure we get the right one. Let's get rid of that. Nope. All right, well, I guess we're not done with this piece. This hasn't been merged yet, but I did make a pull request. So, icon. Invalid prop icon supported to list item. No, that's definitely valid. Is there more information here? On the connect command. If I get rid of config, the error's still there. Maybe I need to upgrade. It should build successfully, and it does. So did this change? Let's see if it changed. Raycast developers. Sure, we'll accept cookies. Oh no, I see an Next.js error. Am I a nerd if I immediately know where they hosted their site based off of the error message? All right, so list.item. Is it mentioned? Oh, wait, hold on. This is the top one. List.dropdown, list.item. Go to list.item. Ah, there we go. Icon. So am I not tooltip value? Tooltip value. Tooltip source. Tint color. Are these like? Did this change? All right, let's see if there's some type safety here or not. So the type safety would be the item is image like value and tooltip. Sure enough, that's it. So did they make a breaking change? Value, and tooltip. Well, we can see that is it giving me the same error? Yep, same error. Supplied. So is this technically wrong? Don't know. Release party, what's up, Jersey? Yeah, see, look, it just doesn't like that prop. image like, icon file, file icon, file icon. But what is file name? They're not telling me. Okay. I feel like it builds and that error isn't important. I don't know, maybe. Their docs are a little bit funky for sure. So part of me wants to reset all of that, because when I run it, I get the colors that I expect. And this guy is going to say that these are the potential return types and the list item value and tooltip. See how these are different? Why doesn't TypeScript complain? That's what I want to know. Can I go to the source code? Apparently, I have to go to it myself. All right, so node, raycast, API. Is it just not here? Raycast API lists. Yeah, see? They don't even have go-to definition. I guess we'll just see what happens, and I can make a revision to this later. So Neovim, it worked in that it connected to it, but it didn't name it right. So is it worth spending the effort here? Desktop as well. Yeah, so desktop. Downloads. Okay, so these are working, but they're not. It's just a connect command. If we go back to raycast sesh. It works. Why would it be any different? Here. Why would that change? Okay, so a little bit of debugging would tell me I need to see what value is being passed. Maybe we're passing the session path, not the session name. That would make sense. So it still resolves. That's probably what it is, actually. So the raycast sesh connect, the session that's being passed is session, and the connect command is path. Okay. Name. That would be it. So I already know this is going to do what it needs to do. All right, so let's run it. Sesh was term config creates was term config. All right, cool. So that means I do need sesh. This needs to be updated. So let's keep this change. So feature is wrap connect command argument in quotes. And then use session name for connecting instead of paths. Cool. So it's probably worth updating the change log to say the same things. What's the best way to do this? I guess I'll just get log. Oh boy. How do I get log glass to? I always forget this. Tail dash in. So we will use session name, wrap this in quotes. All right, feeling pretty good. There's lots of people here. Feel free to ask questions. I know some people just like to sit and watch, so that's fine too. All right, so we fixed those bugs. I'm feeling good about that. It was passing. We'll have to check again. But pretty cool. They got this socket security, which I think is really smart. They make sure that the changelog has been added to. You can't not add to the changelog. They also do some sort of stale issue checker, which is smart. Pretty sure this is all open source, so it'd be fun to play around with something similar in Sesh. Always good to have some boundaries and boundary set in place when you're doing open source. And then some sort of simple checker. Look at that, cool. So we'll wait for the team to approve this. It doesn't really change anything from the CLI side. So we can deliver the version 2.0 before or after this gets merged, and it's not going to break for either party, which is good. Although this one, the changelog broke. Yes, I know. I always forget to do it. I always forget right before I do a push. All right, so what should we do? I say that we play around with the README a bit. I do have autocomplete a little bit in the works, at least for some shells. So that was something I was hoping to deliver. But once you set up your tooling, I don't really feel like you're going to type out Sesh very much. At least there's no strong need to. Do any of you type Sesh connect, Sesh list? Do you type those things out day to day? Or do you just do what I do and like have it bound to a keyboard shortcut? I'm curious. All right, so we go to Sesh. My logo, I like my logo. Look, we've got an A+ from the Go report. So that feels good. Homebrew Go, we need to add Flake. So Go, Nix. So I was told by the Nix people because you know that they have some bold opinions that this merge pull request got merged. So what do we say? We just say that this is, let's take a look. Sesh. We talked about it back here. Some Yes, this is the link. So it lives here. Sesh, can we just click on this? Is there no permalink? Always interesting. Unstable, show sesh from 0 size. Okay. Packages.sesh, nice. So we'll just basically tell people, see the Nix package directory for instructions on how to install Sesh through the Nix platform. I'm going to call it a platform. Any Nix people here disagree with my phrasing? I don't know if Rusty's here. He's not usually on the streams, but he's pretty active in the Discord. All right, so that's Nix. Homebrew, Go, Nix. Raycast extension. How to use. Basic usage, FCF, FCF plus tmux. Does any of this change? Not really. I don't think I should include any of that. Is man FCF? Well, that one's going to be fine. I was going to add a man file for Sesh as well. That was in the works. Recommended settings, configuration. This is the part that's changed. So you can set a default session. I feel like let's see if they can tell me. Yeah, just the -C. So like this is a better example, in my opinion. So this guy, yeah, find files. Default startup script. This all changes. Startup command or startup script. You're here. What's going on? Are you off today? Yeah, you're not working. That makes sense. I took off tomorrow. It's still my Thursday. But we are doing some release notes today. We're not too hardcore in the Go programming language today, but it should still be fun to hang out and get this thing across the finish line. Looking forward to it. Getting it in your guys' hands. You can start messing with this session configuration stuff and give me some feedback. All right, so session configuration is like this. Wait, did I lose something? No. Startup scripts. Background contributions. Okay, so how do I go about saying this clearly? I think we just wanted people to know that this feature exists and how to use it, basically. So let's talk about this. So yes, that is correct. Default session. You can also use the startup script property to run a script when can do a session. Learn how to write startup CV something like this. And then we want to make sure that's added, which I'll do. So basically, I don't know, I'm not great at writing readmes. We want the session, like downloads. We can just use my config, Sesh config. Something like that. And then ls. Maybe we ls that. I really like this one the most, my tmux one. And then we call this startup script. Yes. Default session configuration startup script. A startup script is a simple sure. So we've got this guy. This is a starting point. I'm going to put this in the people's hands. Maybe it's not all in a README. Maybe it's a page on my website or something where I'm a bit more obvious. And then the YouTube video is going to be super explicit in like, hey, this is what Sesh is. This is what you'd want to use it for. This is how you use it. These are all the ideas I have around being more productive with custom configurations. So like an entry point to like encourage people on how to use that feature more. And of course, all of you are here. Wiki, yeah, we could do a wiki. That would work fine. I think just like the giant README always gets a little bit cluttered and can be hard to follow personally. And I'm a really good full stack dev, so I could just spin up some GitHub Pages site if I wanted as well, using Astro or something fairly simple. But I recognize that there's a little overhead in doing that. So I just haven't decided to put that overhead in. All right, so we're going to say docs update instructions for how to use Sesh. Closes config. Startup functionality. We are dropping default, what is it called? Startup script? I can't even remember now. My brain is like, what was this in the past? I don't remember. Did I even leave any here? Startup scripts. Yeah, so startup scripts is very misleading now, and that's why I decided to drop it. So for those that are curious, why did I make a breaking change? This is our first breaking change in Sesh, actually. I didn't think that the pluralization made sense here. Startup scripts is plural, and really you're defining one thing. And the idea between the double braces in TOML is that you can repeat those. You can have many of them, right? You can have an array of them. And so you can repeat this and do this as many times as you want. But each entry is a singular thing. So this one is just for Sesh. It's just the Sesh CLI, and it's to this path. Second brain is just to this, named session to this path. And I want the startup command that starts the daily task. So check this out. If I do second brain, my daily note shows up just like that. Very cool. And for some people, the path to the project may not be the most obvious thing, right? It's like, okay, it's a folder. So it's like a directory, like the directory may be called Sesh. But I have a Sesh that is the source code for this project. I have a Sesh that lives in my config file. I have a Sesh that lives in the raycast thing. And so we can imagine already raycast Sesh that we do a little pwd copy and then Sesh config. We actually need to close that. So I have my project name is invalid. Interesting. I may have messed that up. Dot files. So maybe dots aren't allowed. So let's try that again. Sesh config. And so again, it's dot files config sesh. But for me, being able to type sesh config is faster, easier, to the point. I see what it is. And some people may decide that they want something called like, I don't like this, but some people want, work. And this goes to their work directory. And when they do that, maybe they want to start up gh dash. I don't know, right? So this could be a really specific workflow that works for certain people. So we can mix and match these things. Let's see. So CLI. Sesh. So what tmux does, Ian's asking a valid question. What tmux does is it will take your value and it will convert it if it's a character that it doesn't support. Tmux new-s thing with, random characters. And when we create it, tmux new -s, when we create new, this one's going to be reserved, so it's going to freak out on us. It accepts most things. I'm actually trying to think of how many of these it doesn't. The dot, you see how the dot gets converted to an underscore? And so those are there's some basic characters that tmux will escape. Typically, they replace it with an underscore. So I used to do some basic session renaming, but now the question is, does it matter? Maybe not. But Sesh Connect, there may be outliers that I didn't recognize in me accepting certain variable, arguments in the command line tooling and forwarding it to the appropriate place. And maybe there's stuff that can pop up. So I expect the community to reach out and tell me, hey, this thing isn't working right. In the cases of, we had a lot of issues with spaces, and that's already been fixed, as you can see. Spaces are allowed. So going back to the CLI, we've got this. We've got the startup. What do we call this? Startup script. And then we had this. I liked this pattern a lot more as well. Sesh config. There we go. So this one was also default startup script. And the way that this one worked previously, it was just a single value. And you can give it an argument to a path. But now I've said, okay, how about we just have something called default session? There's only one of these. It plays off of session, but has a limited number of fields, like name isn't valid. So this won't do anything. But we have startup command, we have startup script, and you can pick between them. One of them, of course, executes a script. The other one will just run whatever your command is after the session starts. So that's the next piece. So we're saying default in place of a startup switch and startup command options, or session configuration. What else do we want to say? Requires a path option to tell Sesh where that, to define the base directory for that session. Supports that is ran when this custom is connected to. Yeah, so that's a feature. I don't mind making a diff, which, am I good at these? No. So It's like this. So startup scripts, startup scripts, session path. See how we sort of like moved things around kind of in a weird way? Session path, and then script path. So session path and script path, these all go away. And it becomes session. And so it becomes name, joshmodesky.com, path, and then we have our startup script. Nice. So these go like this. Yeah, that's the idea. And then we're going to repeat this for, I'm going to say, changes. Diff, all the Fs. That guy goes here. By the way, I'm going to drop this idea in your guys' head because I think this would make for a really fun stream. I love the project FireVim, but I haven't gotten it to play nice with everything in the ways that I want it to. It basically can embed Neovim into your text areas on any website, really. LazyVim is a little bit finicky. What I think would be fun is like spinning up a custom kickstart.invim that is made specifically for a good FireVim experience, including like adding Octo to this so that I can like have autocomplete to like GitHub stuff. Because that would be awesome, like autocomplete Neovim in the GitHub web interface would be awesome. I could, of course, be writing this in Octo, but here we are. We're not doing that. And so what do you guys think? Does that sound interesting to you? Do you like that idea? Because then it could be something that we open source as something people can download as an additional Neovim config that's separate. And as long as FireVim is capable of being able to mount to a custom Neovim instead of the default one, then I think that it would be very cool to get that working. All right, so that is here. And this becomes default session, startup script, basically all of this. Yeah, so you're not even, you're all Octo. Good for you. I usually use Octo for, I don't use it much for PR creation because I probably just need to change my muscle memory to put it in place. Basically, I could just say, hey, when I push this button I'm used to pushing, just open Octo, please. So that is something worth doing. A little water. But either way, Andres, any place that has got a text area or an input, you could potentially swap out with Neovim. So it could be good for other sites that you don't get to use Neovim with. Yes. This seems fine to me. This is the idea. We're at the top of the hour here soon, so I just want to figure out if any tests fail, which they probably did. Config startup scripts. All right. All of this changes. So we write this, and all of this is different. So I'm not really doing test-driven development here. Prepare sesh config. So this becomes session session path becomes path, startups path becomes startup script. So now path third, parsing the config. So this should be default session config dot startup script should equal default. And that is because that should equal, wait, how are these any different? Oh, if it doesn't equal. Got it. Startup. So that's the test. Session configs, path, so this is path, right? I could do better at doing this faster. For some reason, when 40 people are watching me, I am slower. So then this session configs. Oh, my bad. And then this becomes path. Startup scripts, session config. Which one's gonna fail? Config sesh scripts, config sesh. These are different. Why are these different? Config set, oh, startup script. So startup script. Startup script. Startup script. I don't think we need to do this that many times. I think there's sort of a core amount of elements here that tell us that the feature is working. So I guess the first two are expected second script got, what did it get? Didn't get anything. Startup script, startup script, startup script, startup script. Say that 1,000 times fast. Okay, what? Which one is failing? 97. So the first startup script says second. Oh no, indexing. I'm dumb. All right. Session configs expected this, but got nothing. Can I debug this? Breakpoint. Look at that, debugger. Let's go. So config, session config, 0, name path. Oh, it's not honoring that. So that means I wrote something wrong. Look at that, debugger. I'm finally using a debugger, you guys. We've talked about this on before, and I've struggled in the past. So I should be able to say continue, and that finishes it up. And when I'm not zoomed in, it looks even nicer because I have a lot of screen real estate on a big monitor. So that means startup is spelt wrong. Do you think that would matter, chat? Do you think it would care if it was spelt right? There we go. So let's see, do all of the tests pass? Very nice. Config tests. I do appreciate those tests being there. We probably should test all of the pieces of it. But that's something that I could do outside of stream. I don't know if you guys want to test with me, although it can be it can be interesting to have conversations around. I love talking about testing, so always happy to talk about testing. But if this passes, I might ship it, tag it, write out the change log for everybody to see, and start getting feedback, because it is going to be a long weekend for some people. Ian, it'll be a long weekend for some of the people, and including myself. So we'll have a little extra time to mess with our tooling, hopefully. And I, of course, am working on my Sesh video, which I want it to be really good. It's pretty exhaustive. There's a lot to talk about. And so now that this feature shipped, I'm going to feel really confident in explaining how it works and the pieces. Yeah, you got a long weekend too? That's awesome. Anyone else off this weekend with some extra time? Four days, nice. Very nice. I'm just doing 3 days. My partner's off, so she was like, hey, I'm off on Friday. You should take Friday off. I was like, okay. I guess I'm just privileged enough that if I want a little extra day here and there, I can ask my boss, and he's always been pretty open to it, which I like. Makes me happy. Okay, so there's a lot of code here, and we didn't talk about a lot of the extra tooling but I think it's worth playing around with perhaps in the future. This won't actually do anything for anybody, but let's do it. Let's ship the feature. Let's bring in all my commits. Let's tag it. Are we ready? V. I guess we're officially at 1.0. Was it misleading? Maybe it was a little misleading when I put 2.0. I didn't even realize that we had never officially landed on 1.0. Well, today's the day. Breaking change. So I guess this makes it worth it for me to announce it as 1.0 in the video. That feels right. In the next 5 minutes or so, you guys can brew update, brew upgrade, do the things, git pull, whatever it is that you do to make Sesh work, and you should be able to start playing with this. Let's go here. Let's push. Did I push the tag? So if we go here under tags and releases, we can actually let's copy this stuff. So what we're going to say in my release, create release from tag. Let's see, Sesh, config, options, and more. Version 1.0. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but we just secretly sort of merged and shipped this. So I think it's imports. Imports. Import. So you can just say, I want to import cool. And then next, we have import default I liked the Neovim C telescope find files. Is that the one we showed off? What did we show off? Find files. We need, okay, we do need that. We need the, yeah. You're watching kids? Yeah. So Ian, you've got a crazy weekend, huh? But that's nice. You get to see family. And apparently other people's family. Name. Let's call this like dot files. Path equals, I don't know, like code slash dot files. Startup command. Startup command. You can also write a script and execute it using the startup script. Note, you can only choose the startup script or startup command. They can't be used at the same time. So that's startup script. And startup script can go to like code startup.sh. So those are it. You can list session configurations with now load by default if no flags are provided after tmux sessions. And before you want to list them, you can use the command. The shipping will include this. I'm not going to mention Raycast. Raycast will be there if it's there. New features. So we will Sesh. Oh, how did that get up there? Let's put in an image. Oh, wait, hold on. Is there a attached binaries? No, that's different. Look at that. That complained, didn't it? Startup script, breaking changes, update release. Very nice. So, how about that? I'm excited. I'm super excited. Come on, we want the confetti. Yay! So, 1.0 is live. We can check the action. I don't mind checking the action. Workflow runs, config tests. That didn't work. Build and publish. Go releaser failed. No Linux binaries found. That is interesting. Let's see if I it is available. Yeah. No, I know. My YouTube was 2.0 because I forgot that we weren't on 1.0 yet. So maybe a little misleading, but if you watch enough of the stream, you're going to find out. And if you're plugged into the Sesh project, you're definitely going to know. You're going, oh, yeah, we're not on 1 yet. Why would we be on 2? So I can build. Let's do brew update. Oh, that's not going to work. Yeah, we're still on 15, so that didn't work. What would have changed? This has always worked for me. I've never had any issues. Tag 1.0. Go releaser. Go mod tidy. Do I need to run go mod tidy ahead of time? Well, we got our Linux builds here. Let's see, go releaser. What do you have for me? This technically works on Windows too, but I think someone was asking me about Windows the other day, and I was like, I don't know if Unix plays well with tmux. I'm not sure, or like non-Unix shells. But if you really wanted it, you could download it and see what happens. So close, power to the people. WSL would work just fine. Look, Linux, Windows. I bet it might be my Deb thing. This thing didn't work, and maybe it's what's holding me back from moving forward. So I made a pull request recently attempting to get the Deb releaser to work. It did not work. So we are going to feat sure remove broken look chat, we got our first 1.0.1. That's not even worth a pull request. Control, okay, Ryan, so Control L is not cleaning the screen. Oh, clearing is maybe what you mean. Yeah, it looks like Ian's being helpful here. Vim tmux navigator would be, if you have splits, Control L would send you to, from this pane to this pane, right? Let me try that again here. So if I'm here and hit Control L, it's going to take me that direction. If there's no direction to hit, it's still going to do that. It's still going to attempt to do the navigation. You can find that from the tmux config. You'll probably have something like this found. How do you clear the screen? I type the clear command. I never use Control L. I just hit C. C is short for clear. But play around with it. You can always bind it to something else, I think. I don't know what shell you use, though. What shell are you in? Okay, Deb. Deb is going to go away and hopefully is going to work for us. It's funny, Go Releaser will sort of tell you how to do certain things, but they don't give you enough information to be done. Like I don't actually get past the finish line with much of Go Releaser's documentation. There's like a lot of experimentation that I have to do. So it might be interesting to like make a blog post or something about this, or a video about like, hey, this is how you make a Go CLI and how you publish it, because none of the information was in one place. That's what I'll say. All right, that was it. So my Deb releaser was not in the right place. It wasn't ready. So we should just go brew updates and brew info sesh. So Ryan, you probably are using Z shell or maybe fish shell or bash. That's what I was meaning, because sometimes that specific shell will give you certain tooling to let you remap stuff. But clearing isn't a big thing, so I wouldn't dwell too much on it. You can just type the word clear and hit enter, and it's going to clear it. I know that's more keystrokes. Oh, too far, too far, too far. I almost crushed my legs. All right, I've been standing for the last hour, so I'm going to sit. Oh, that's right. 1.0 is officially released. Let's go. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. This is really fun. I'm glad to see this. And so here we are. We've got 1.0 is out in the world. So I probably won't go through the full hour, but there's 50 people here. How exciting. So all of you got to see that live, and go download it and start using it and tell me what goes wrong. Happy to fix stuff as it comes up. But since we're here, I can show off some more things that I've done with it. So I showed off the second brain one. I love this one. It puts you in the daily note immediately. Let's see, what else do I do? I really like the fish config drops me in the fish init file, and then I can easily jump to something else. Same with WesTerm. Every time I go to edit WesTerm, it's usually this base file. And so now this is simple. I can just do this. Same with like desktop. We were showing that one off. That one actually needs to be changed. I don't use this one actually, but I do have a Sesh config, and we have desktop. So that one I don't use. But like my website one, you guys have seen this one before. It starts up the dev server in a split, and it opens up the file picker. And then just like that, it sort of automatically opens up the browser, and there's my website that I can develop on. I recently did one for blog posts. So if I want to just get to the blog posts directly and filter the blog posts this way with MDX files, it's a little bit faster and easier to manage. Something that I do mention to people is I really like the workflow of having multiple sessions open, even for the same projects. So here I may have like a layout Astro component, and then in a separate session, session, I have my markdown files. And so now I can do content. I can hit Command L and switch. Oh, you guys can't see anything I'm doing. You can create multiple sessions is what I was talking about. So these two things are pointing mostly at the same session. But if you go here and you can see that I want to go to like fish, right? Why I switched from fish, great. But we'll see that the buffers end up kind of being mixed up, and the Command P will actually list all the files that I've ever touched. Versus if I were to say, hey, I want the blog post thing to be separate, then when I run Command P, which is just a find file smart open tool that I use, now I get just the blog posts. So it's like the reasons I use Sesh is to put scope into my work. So if I want to work on a really specific part of the project, I create a session for that specific part of the project rather than thinking I need the whole project open. A good use case is like the monorepos. So I use a monorepo for work, and we have packages, we have applications, we have a front end and a back end. And so during my working day, I'll have 4 or 5 sessions open related to work, because one is for this package, one is for another package, one is for the server, one is for the web application, and they all live in different servers, sessions, and I'm able to just switch between them extremely quickly using the Sesh switcher. And part of me thinks that the work tree the stuff I'm doing with work trees is going to grow. I do use work trees a lot now, which I've talked about some. And so that has helped a bunch. And even more so moving forward, I may play around with this idea of having a session that is for a really specific thing, like I want to update. And so rather than going to binaries, which is these are my custom binaries, and hitting this and going to update, I've been playing around, although I don't have a perfect solution yet, with this idea of like, if I want to update, let's just close that. If I want to sesh config, I can take binaries. Let's do something like this. The only thing that happens that's a little bit funny right now is sessions are really important on the path. A lot of sessions logic is determined based off of the path. So it's kind of tricky and a little bit confusing to try to have multiple sessions be on the same path is a problem that I've run into. So just something that I wanted to call out. So instead of this, we can say startup command is U, and we can say this is the update session. So maybe I change that and make this the update session. Actually, temp should work fine. So now if I do U update, did I run the wrong script? Start up command. I'm always missing that T. I have a light touch. Apparently that finger isn't wanting to press down. All right, so now if I do update, now it's supposed to just update. Why isn't it updating? Start up command. Start up command. Why is this not honoring? Weird. All right, well, I just came up with a edge case. Somehow update doesn't play nice. Temp. Yeah, temp is fine. Startup command. Updates. Weird. Well, let's see. Which sesh? We're on that. Go bin sesh. Okay, so brew install sesh. It's been interesting. I've been doing stuff. I've been playing around with like, how do I run my local sesh, and then how do I download sesh and use the right one there? Weird. I'm not getting a startup command for some reason. I'll have to play around with that. That one works. Where is it putting me? Oh, it's putting me here. There might be something to the root. Maybe there's something to this root. I've never tried this before. Yeah, weird. Okay, so we've just learned something new. There might be something to root. The root slash might not play nice with the logic. So something to think about. But yeah, I'll be pushing my configs and tmux fire support for fish. I got a bunch of stuff in here, but this is the main one. Feature update my sesh configs. Andres, interesting question. Basically, sesh list is a binary, and that binary is listing configs. So it's the list command is pulling configs and putting them in the list standard out. And so that's kind of what's going on. So raycast isn't reading the config, although we could put configuration options in raycast. There are ways to do that, which you might be familiar with already. So like we already have one sesh. We have this open with required, and this one you have to set your terminal emulator. This is a raycast specific configuration. We might be able to create some sort of sesh config endpoint, which could be interesting, but I haven't seen a strong need for that yet. Let's see. Do I want to update this? Yes, I do. We don't need that. I am going to stage A T G X F. I don't need this, but can be used for debugging. This is my way of debugging. It actually worked pretty well. Updating. Nice. So we're going to say improve Sesh tmux command, tmux binding. Nice. All right, so this is feeling pretty good. Western. I'll just get rid of that. Will I get rid of that? Yes. Every time I save this, the background image changes because that's how I have it set up. It's just random. And then what did we do? Divergence yellow. Nice. Drop arrow for asterisk. I can't spell. Asterisk. Speaking of asterisk, did anyone watch Constellation? It's an Apple TV Plus show. Because holy smokes, I need to talk about it. Anyone, it's called Constellation. It's this crazy like sci-fi astronaut show about like quantum mechanics basically. And like apparently when astronauts go to space, there's like this like unexplained scientific phenomenon and related to quantum physics. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil the plot, but holy smokes, was that a show. It's a wild show. I don't really want to touch all this at once. I don't think I'll commit all of this right now. I'm sort of settling on some of this. But hi, there is the Sesh stuff, right? So if you're curious, these are my dot files, and this is what Sesh looks like as of today. Just playing around with some ideas. So yeah, 1.0 is officially out. I am tired. I did a lot of things today. Yeah, just copy paste, sure. Our projects are going to be a bit different, so you may want to think about how you structure that. But definitely borrow as many of the ideas as you want. I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys use Sesh more. I think after the YouTube video comes out in the next couple of weeks, it will create a lot more buzz and people will be excited about how this works. Again, this is all just open source stuff that I'm doing for free. I don't have any way of you to send me money or anything, but I do appreciate if you share this with your friends, especially your tmux Neovim friends. If they're not using Sesh, you should be like, hey, you might really like this session manager. It can save you a lot of time and energy. And of course, send them that video when it comes out. The original one's pretty good still, but we've come a long way since then. I do have like an original smart tmux sessions with Zoxide video that I really has done really well, and people seem to resonate with it. And everyone who's here, 56 people, please, 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 if you're going to take any favors from this time together, go to the repo and star it. Because the more stars we get, the more likely that GitHub will push this to others. And I'm very excited to get this project to grow. I think there's a lot of opportunity here to save people a lot of time. And so go check it out. Please, please, please. Let's see if we can get to, I feel like we can get to 300 stars in the next couple of weeks. We're at 200, but I think if enough people know about it, we can get there. 2 stars. I love it. I don't know how you did it, but thank you. Let's see. All right, so we're going to do a little tweet. I feel like Primogen right now, pulling up Twitter. You get to see my feed. We're going to say, hey, look, there's Chris. Chris is a fellow streamer. He's in here sometimes. All right, so Sesh is officially at 1.0. All right, so there we go. tmux, terminal, productivity. I don't know, what do we say? Unix. I feel like I need to go to Reddit and I need to post this on Reddit too, because I think there's some missed opportunity there. You guys have a work GitHub account? I just have my work email and my personal email attached to the same GitHub account so that I can sign commits and do stuff like that. But yes, as many as you want. If you want to retweet this, you are welcome to retweet this. I won't stop you. And why don't we tell the Sesh community exciting, very exciting. And we say this at the end of every stream. If you go to joshmodesty.com, you can find the links off of my social profiles. You can join the Discord community. So there's a Discord link on my website. If you want to join the community, we talk about, what do we talk about? We talk about keyboards. We talk about tmux and Neovim a lot. We talk about monitors, shells, a little bit of AI, a little bit of Git. I'm into 3D printing. I really like stable diffusion as well. That's how I make all of the thumbnails. All the thumbnails are made from that. And so please check that out. And Harry's on the channel, so good to see you. Kay just joined. I say Kay, but I'm in streamer mode. So thanks for joining, guys. This is really fun. I'm going to go ahead and end a little bit early today. We did everything we wanted to do. 1.0 is officially out in the world. So please give yourself a little upgrade, brew update Sesh. Start adding some custom configs. Try to make your workflow more personalized. I would encourage you to play around with the startup command. I find that that's the simplest way. Just one quick line of code that can get you way more productive than if you have to type that stuff out yourself manually, or if you have to jump to files manually, or you have to start up scripts manually. And feel free to experiment with some other tooling and let us know what works for you. And we got another question. Happy to answer. How do I get Westerm to do this thing? So for those that are wondering, I'm going to make a new video I haven't made a video in a while on this topic. One of my very first videos was on this topic, but I can hit Command T. Let's go back. I can hit Command T for a new tab. I can hit Command W to close the tab. If I have 2 open or 3, I can hit Command Shift bracket, and I'm able to switch. And WesTerm, with the help of a few helper functions, allow me to take something like a mapping bracket and send the keys Control I and O. And if I do the curly braces, which is somewhere down here, where is it? It might be Shift. Yeah. So Command Shift curly brace will fire Control B in, which for those that don't know, that's how you get to the next in previous windows. So P and N. The gotcha here is that WesTerm, unfortunately, has bound that to something that they've done themselves. And the reason that that specific thing isn't working for you, I'll tell you why. I know exactly why. Is you have to go to keyboards. It's just like really weird. Replacement shortcuts. Where is it? It is. Not keyboard. App shortcuts. WesTerm. You basically have to take this guy and this guy. This is just good old hardcore macOS stuff. For anyone who's ever been in the weeds, you might know this. So these two have to be named in your shortcuts, and you have to change it to something else. Basically, you have to say it's not Command Shift bracket. It is, I just said Control Alt Command bracket because I don't ever use that shortcut. It doesn't matter what you bind it to. It just has to be unbound, basically. You have to unbind it from WesTerm. It drove me crazy. I had Wes, the guy who built the terminal, reach out to me, or I reached out to him and asked him, what's going on? How do I do this? And I ultimately found this out, which I have another really old YouTube video, like a few years old, that talks about how to do this, because this is a fun trick. If you want to change your key bindings from a macOS level, you can do this with any Mac app as long as it is a menu item. So basically, like, let's go to like Obsidian. You can do that. See how these are bound here? You can change these. Yes, Obsidian lets you do it, so maybe that's a bad example. But other apps that don't let you rebind key mappings, you can go into the keyboard app shortcut settings, and you can change these to whatever you want. You just have to get the syntax right. So that is what's going on. It's weird that you have to overwrite it in WesTerm, but it's just the way that it was designed. But Ian, I know Ian's here. Ian, have a good weekend with your family, man. And the new ones that joined the Discord server, really glad you did that. We have lots of fun conversations, so hope to get to know you better there. And I may or may not have some people on my stream in the next few weeks. We've done it before. I like having friends on with me. And so be on the lookout. You may be able to meet more developers in this space. It should be fun. And go play with 2.0, not 2.0, 1.0. Go play with Sesh 1.0. Give me some feedback. And have a good day. Have a good night, wherever you are. See you.